Hey guys, Ayo Megami here, and welcome to a new episode of Morioh Confidants. Today is the turn for us to talk of the aspiring fairy godmother, Aya Tsugi, who is represented by the High Priestess Arcana. In the Persona series, the High Priestess Confidants are often members of the main group, as well as a potential love interest of the protagonist. They are characterized by being deeply intelligent, shy and diligent individuals. And it is in diligence that Aya very much reflects the High Priestess Arcana's confident archetype. Let's start with the card's iconography. The figure of the High Priestess goes back to the ancient female lunar deities of the past, such as Artemis, or to goddesses that are linked to magic and the occult knowledges, such as Isis or Hecate. And this fits perfectly with the leitmotif of Aya, who since childhood has aspired to be a modern fairy godmother of sorts. Like in the fairy tale of Cinderella, she wants to help her client achieve their happy endings. The fairy godmother, like the goddess of the moon, is also linked to nighttime. She appears at night to assist the future queen Cinderella and ensure her magical support until the stroke of midnight. The two columns between which the High Priestess sits represent the dual nature of the card, which we could see as representing the duality of the stand Cinderella, which, on the one hand, help you fulfill your sentimental desires, but at the same time, forces people to maintain its effect through Aya's lipstick, with the risk of losing their face entirely. The moon at the priestess' feet symbolizes her control over her emotions, which Aya being a very calm person who rarely gives into emotions. The pomegranate represents the highest priestess' ambitions, namely a dream of being the fairy godmother. The figure of the High Priestess is also connected to the concept of intuition, and Aya is presented as being a very intuitive woman who quickly grasps people's true nature. If the High Priestess card appears upright, it represents unconscious intuition, mystery, spirituality, inner voice, patience, and knowledge. Aya is a highly qualified beautician with extensive knowledge in the field of aesthetic, which ultimately manifests itself in her stand, Cinderella. She appears to be a very composed and patient person, even with a quick-tempered person like Yukaku, even when the girl ends up attacking her. She also appreciates dedication, scolding Yukaku when she failed to keep her promise of using the lipstick every 30 minutes. Her desire to be the fairy godmother was so strong that it ended up materializing in the form of her stand. The character of the fairy godmother aligns perfectly to the female figures to which the card refers to, described by the tarot card as an intuition that must prevail over reason, the same intuition that leads Yukaku to undergo her operation without thinking too much about it, to Aya's surprise and glee, or the same quality that Aya wanted to witness in the final test she gave Yukaku. The High Priestess is a card that encourages problem solving by offering advice to those who are willing to listen and commit, without, however, providing an answer. This is in line with Aya's character, as we see when she reproached Yukaku for failing to apply the lipstick to secure a future with a beloved Koichi. If the card is reversed, it signifies suppressed intuition, hidden motivation, superficiality, and confusion. Aya often uses her stand power to force a client to return for treatments. Aya may initially appear superficial in her role as a fairy godmother. Her stand power severely punishes anyone who breaks her rules, leaving them disfigured. Although it wasn't shown in either the manga or the anime, a final moment must have been very chaotic, due to a battered Kira appearing before her, which a man who face she is forced to apply on Kira's face. She barely has any time to warn Josuke and the others of Kira's new identity before she dies, taking this information with her to the grave. Regarding one's career, the High Priestess is a card that encourages the exploration of new ideas, especially in creative jobs like Aya's. And as I mentioned before, it also a card that encourages you to trust your instinct over logic especially in your work environment. Let's now move on to the comparison with the high priestesses of the Persona series, Fuka Yamagishi, Yukiko Amagi, and Makoto Nijima, all members of the protagonist team in their respective parts. In Persona, the leitmotif that binds the high priestesses together is the internal conflict between the personal desires and their desires to help others and how this affects their lives. The most striking example is that of Yukiko Amagi, the heiress of her family inn in Inaba, who initially tries to create a future for herself that isn't tied to the inn, realizing that what bothered her was the expectation others placed upon her and not the inn itself. Aya reflects this theme to a certain extent, which reflects in her wanting to help others but also live a dream of hers. Aya is driven by a sincere, childlike desire to act as a fairy godmother and help her customers find the love of their life through her stand. The priestesses are associated with diligence, excellent academic results, a quiet and reserved nature, and wisdom, all traits they easily share with Aya. In conclusion, the Persona character I think she came closest to is Makoto Nijima. I had a hard time choosing between the three. As I mentioned before, the confidant of the High Priestess is about them finding a balance between what they want to do and the help they can provide to others, with Yukiko struggling to find another identity beyond that of the inn girl, and Fuka trying to find a new aspiration in her life. Makoto is the one who closely reflects Aya. Both of them try to help people in need, but also use this excuse for their personal gain. Aya does it by making it so that her customers return later for more treatments, while Makoto used the initial investigation of the mafia to find a place of belonging between the phantom thieves. Before we end this episode, let's move on to the possible confidant Aya might have. Hers will be one of those confidants that, if not completed by a certain date, it can remain incomplete. Given that Aya dies by the hand of Yoshigake Kira, her confidant will also increase one of the protagonist's attributes, in this case any charm-related attribute. Working which or advancing the confidant with the fairy godmother will raise the charm of the protagonist. A confidant will focus on helping Aya deal with a young girl who is mistreated by her stepmother and stepsisters, supporting her in her search for her love and emancipation from her family. Obviously, the confidant will serve as a modern reimagination of the fairy tale of Cinderella. Thanks again for watching the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe for more content. For the next episode, I want you guys to guess which character from Morioh is going to be the representative of the Empress Arcana. Until we meet again, farewell.